I'm going to give this a couple of seconds to make sure everybody gets in. Let me make sure my chat is showing. And let me put. Okay. So I've also, for any of you who are here earlier or end up joining, that there will be a budget worksheet and a planning workbook and a checklist that we made for remodelers. So they will come up during the presentation as well and have QR codes and links. But just in case you want to download them now and work with them while working with them, you have them here. Okay, double check. Okay. All right, it's about 2 minutes after, and I do want to try to keep it to an hour, so I'm going to give this a start now. So first of all, welcome and thank you for spending your time with me to talk about your 2026 digital marketing plan for your remodeling company. So I'm Shannon Donovan. I'm the owner and founder of Remodelers Marketing Crew, and we're a digital marketing company that works just with remodelers, general contractors, remodelers. So kitchen, bath, basement, decks, so forth, even full home builds. Okay, so let's get moving. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to review your current marketing trends for one thing, because we're going to talk about the dollars you should spend, but we also want to talk about the trends that are going on right now, so you make sure that you're putting those dollars to the best use. We're going to outline some clear targets and goals for the next year, align your KPIs, your key performance indicators, show you what to track to achieve these outcomes. So we'll have a whole plan with a budget. We're going to tell you not only within that budget, but here's your marketing budget. That's great. But what channels? Where should you spend that money? Making sure, again, that you're taking important advantage of those important trends. New technologies that we would use for the new year, and then set you up for basically a massive success in the next year and coming on. A little bit of housekeeping. I probably spend 20% of my time going to either live events or online events of masterclasses like this, because I need to keep abreast with search engine optimization, AI. Every part of marketing is always changing. And the remodeling industry changes and trends change. So I have to keep track of that. And one thing I know is that if I ever try to multitask and do something else, I don't get as much out of it. So I really suggest you're here anyway. Spend your hour with me, 45 minutes an hour with me. Turn off your cell phones, your Facebook, and just pay attention and really try to, I'm going to have you actively working in the worksheets as we work through. So try to pay attention to that, make notes, and really make this, take advantage of this the best you can. And hopefully we can say at the end of this, next year, if you come back and listen to the plan for next year, that you've doubled or tripled your leads and thus your revenue for the next year. Okay, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on me, but I also just asked you to spend a dedicated hour with me. So I want to tell you just a little bit about why you should listen to me. So I've had more than 10 years of experience in the remodeling industry. I've worked with well over 75 businesses in remodeling that we've increased their revenue. I'm the author, which will be published. I'm reading the last pages of it right now for the final edits. Stop Wasting Your Money, the Remodeler's No BS Guide to Digital Marketing that actually works. That should be out in the spring. So get on our mailing list and we'll get you that book that will go through everything we're talking about here and more in detail. Spoken at many industry events. I'm widely accepted as a premier expert in internet marketing for remodeling industry. Worked with remodeling businesses all over the US. I think we're close to closing in on having a client in every state. And kind of a little bit of a takeoff of who I am is that I do have a doctorate degree in business administration. I've taught finance, marketing, and entrepreneurship for many years at university. And I was the director of their Center for Entrepreneurship, which is really kind of where this business grew out of, because we worked with the Small Business Administration and teams of students to help small businesses grow. But because it was a university, it was semester courses. And at the end of the semester, I'd check in with the clients and they'd be like, this is great, but we have no idea, because marketing was almost always one of the issues that we were helping them with. We had no idea how to keep this going. So I started helping them. Thus, your business was born. And the other interesting thing is, though, after a while, we were working with just all small businesses. But we realized to do really well, we had to know the industry. You can't know every industry well. So we made sure that we really learned and knew about the remodeling industry. And so that really sets us apart from the average marketing agency that may call you and look for some of your business. And the other key thing is that I've been studying SEO, AI now, content marketing in the remodeling industry for well over 10 years. And I spend a lot of time keeping up to date, and so does my team. I put them through classes. We're always buying new things for them to learn and for me to learn. So it is something, when we're talking here, we're talking from experience. When I started, I literally did every piece of this, and as most of US contractors have done. You started and you were out there, with the hammer and doing everything, including estimating the costs and so forth, picking up the materials. And as you grew, you had more and more people to do these things for you. But because you did that first, you really have a good understanding. So I have a team of experts that do this really well. I think they may be on the next slide. Well, there's some of the companies that we work with all over the country. So Colorado, New Mexico, Massachusetts, what do we have here? Michigan, Tennessee, California, Idaho. So lots of different companies. There's some of the team. We've changed, some of the faces are different, some are new. We're a little bit bigger than that now, but we have people that just specialize in SEO, just specialize in web development, just specialize in content writing, Facebook, ads, so forth. So when we talk here, I'm talking about experience. I'm not just saying, oh, here's some things I read out of a textbook. This is from every day, 60, 70 hours a week of experience and continual learning about this. So I just really kind of wanted to emphasize that. Okay, let's get going. Your internet marketing plan for 2026. So let's start with the trends. So as everybody knows, AI is one of the biggest trends. They're becoming, well, I'm not sure if they're becoming the new Google, but they're definitely much more of a search engine threat or to Google than ever before. In August of last year, they first started, so it's barely 18 months. They first started introducing the AI overviews. So if you typed in something, try it. Type in best 5 kitchen remodelers in my town. Put that in. More than likely, on the very top, very first thing that's going to come up is AI telling you what they found. So we want to be there. We want to be found there too. So that's very important. It's not just Google anymore. Google's still big, and you still need to do that, but you also have to watch out for AI and being noticed there. Then there's a second, the growth in the voice and conversational search. So people are now talking to ChatGPT, talking to Siri, talking to Alexis, and asking questions. So they're not simply just typing in remodeler in Dallas, right? They're typing in a lot more than that. They're not just typing in, they're speaking. So it's much more conversational. So we have to be aware of that to rank as well. Then there's highly personalized marketing. For all of our clients now, we actually create personas, and each have projects with personas in ChatGPT and other AI forms, so that when we want to write email sequences or website adjustments, real-time things, we can look at that with their persona. Of course, we always have to anything that comes out of ChatGPT, any AI, you have to make sure it sounds human and fact check it. But it's a big, huge help from there, and it's getting better all the time. There's been a focus away from tracking cookies to doing some smarter marketing with privacy in mind. So we let it collect customer data a little bit differently through emails, preferences, surveys, quizzes, forms. We've had great success with some of the quizzes. We had a quiz on Facebook for bathroom remodelers, and by answering all the questions on the quiz, when the client got to call the client, to call the prospect, they knew what kind of bathroom they wanted, what their budget was, when they were looking to move, when they were looking to do it, where they were located. All of this was already there because they answered all the questions on the quiz. Wouldn't you want, when you called somebody, to know all that before they picked up the phone? So really important. It is a stronger connected customer journey. We have to ensure now, first of all, that you're across many channels, right? You're going to be on Facebook, and you're going to be on Google, and you're going to be on Google Business Profiles and Instagram and so forth. And we're going to be across here. But the other important thing is it's the same message. We want to ensure that there's that same brand experience no matter where they find you. So that's very important now. Many people will say, oh, I ask my clients where they find me, and a lot of them say Facebook. Okay. But generally, if you really, that's just like a one question, they fill out one thing on a survey or something. If you really start talking to them, they're like, yeah, that was the last place they saw you. But before that, maybe they saw signage. Maybe you have a billboard. Maybe they saw your truck parked somewhere. Maybe when they searched on Google, they saw that you came up there. Maybe they saw your Google Business Profile. Maybe they saw you on Instagram, right? But then the time that, provoked them to make the call might have been a Facebook ad, might have been a Facebook post. But generally, they're not coming from one source anymore. And that's why you need to be known everywhere, right? We always say the goal is to be the best known remodeler in your area. So you're top of mind. There we go. More interactive content. Quizzes, which I already gave an example of quizzes, calculators, estimators. So people want to know prices right now. And that kind of comes down to number 8 too, is education. They kind of tie in together. But so we've created a lot of estimators or calculators. And so somebody could say, oh, I have an average size kitchen and I'm going to use stock rather than custom cabinets. And I need wood fall floors, and I want granite countertops of medium price range. And we give them an estimate. And so maybe that estimate comes out between 45 and 65,000 for them. Now, maybe they thought they could do it for 25. And so now they don't call you. So they didn't call us. Well, do you want to waste your time on those people? Probably not. We get what everyone tells us, they're the tire kickers. They're the people that waste your time, right? We want you to get better qualified leads. These are actually really helping with that. Okay? This is exactly, I think this was the only one that's exactly on from last year. It says short form videos, before and after pictures, storytelling, case studies are more important than ever. They're more important than they were a year ago. People don't have a long attention span. They like to see a quick video, quick testimonial video, a quick video on how you overcame the problems of this kitchen remodel and what it looks afterwards. I can't tell you how much. What I can show you, if you want to, and I don't have enough time today, and we'll go over this in other workshops, but that the people that do it get better results. I 100% can tell you that. So I know it's not the most favorite thing, but you could even try contests with your clients. With your employees. Well, people get the most before and after. It's the best videos, but it really helps. Make it a practice, and it won't seem like it's anything else extra. And both of these tie into content as education. So I do a masterclass every month. There's certain things we always stop. We always start and end the year with our budget planning numbers. Always start with that. We always have one on websites, usually have one on converting websites as well as building a website, always have one on Google Business Profiles, always have one on social media. Usually we always have one on automation as well. We've also had new ones this year that were on basically how to handle phone calls and automations, which was really big. We've had 2 on AI, one how to get found on AI and one how to use AI prompts to help your business grow. And then I believe it was the last one we did was on education as content, which was basically a lot based on a book, which I really recommend you read. It's called They Ask, You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. And one of the things that really came clear, I've seen it other places, but from this book as well, is that 70% of the buying decision is made before they ever call you or contact you in any way, right? People now know that online they can find answers. So we want them to find the answers from you, not your competitor. We want to answer all of their questions. We want to answer questions about price. We want to answer questions about competitors. We want to answer all those questions Because what are we really selling when it comes down to it? All of us, me, you, all of us in business, we're selling trust. Okay? They have to trust you to come into their house, build them a new kitchen on time, within budget, that's good quality and is going to last. They have to trust you. You have to build that trust. And that's one of the things you can do through education. So reputation management, which we'll talk about, but education is part of reputation management, showing them the work you've done, right? Answering their questions, very important in new trends right now. All right, so let's talk about the clear goals. Okay, so again, you know that success is goals, all else is commentary. You have to have goals to move forward, okay? And so we want to, right? If you don't have a goal, you don't know where you're going, right? You could be like, oh, I'm just taking a walk. Where? I don't know. Well, you're not going to get there. You need to have the goals, know where you're going to get. So here's a snapshot of the work, of our workbook. I'm going to go to it in a second. So you can use this link, or you can use this QR code. Take this like full screen for a minute. It takes a second to load, so I'm just going to do it. I've already loaded it. So when you do first load it, it's going to say make a copy so that you can have your own copy, so that you can put your own numbers in. So when you do that link. So when you come here, what I want you to do is go to the first page, lead generation. So this is going to give us an idea in one way. We're going to talk about two different ideas of coming up with a budget. This one, you really kind of have to have an idea of what your average cost per lead, or you can use some of our averages for that. But the other thing that I might not have mentioned yet, but we work with remodelers that have started us with zero income. And we have remodelers that come to us with $1 million a month income, some a little bit more, right? So we know the gamut. We have people that will do, smaller $5,000, $10,000 jobs. We have people that wouldn't even touch anything under 100,000. So we work with a huge variety of different types of remodelers. So I kind of just kept the one in here from the last person that I did a seminar with, we did a strategy call with, and we can go from there. So their goal was to get to $3 million next year. Now, one thing about goals, I probably talk to around 10 contractors a day. So that's a lot a year, right? And I hear everything from, well, I'm making, 50,000 a month now. I'd like to make 55,000 a month. Well, it's not really too much of a growth goal. And to the other people that are, I'm doing $1 million in revenue this year. I want to do 10 million next year. Whoa, 10 times. Okay. So I hear the gamut. So you try to think realistically, and maybe this also will help you think realistically. Like, what am I realistic? Is 50% good? Is 100% good? Is 25% good? Come up with a number. Okay, so these guys decided $3 million, divide that by 12, that's 250,000 a month. Now, I'm going to say this again too, seasonality can matter. So maybe you realize our best months are March, April, May. Maybe those months you need to do 400,000, because maybe when you're in November and December, you're only doing 100,000. So you can spread that out later to make it over the 300, but this will give you a ballpark idea. Okay. Then another thing that you have to come up with is, what is your average revenue per project? Again, I have clients all over the board. So what is it for you? So look at the number of projects you did for the last 6 months and what was the total revenue. Divide. If there's some outliers, throw them out. Since that was a really strange, really low one we did, that was a really strange high one, keep the rest of them and come up with it. So for this client, we did, and it was 50,000. So if they want to do 250 a month, and they may do 50,000 is their average project, they need to do 5 projects. Okay, so the 2 things so far you need to put in is, what's your annual revenue go? What's your average price per project? It's going to come up with how many projects. Okay, so this might be a thing right here. Right? If you're like, whoa, we're only doing 1 or 2 right now, I don't know if we can go to 5. Right? Then you might go, okay, maybe I need to go back and change my annual target. Maybe I need to change something. But if you're like, hey, we're already doing 4 a month now, doing 5 shouldn't be that big a deal. Or we're doing 3, 5 would be a stretch, but I think we can get there. Give you some reality checks in here. Then the third thing that you need to do is, what is the average conversion rate? So if I give you 10 leads on average, how many of those become jobs? Okay. And I hear, again, I think the lowest I generally hear is 20%, but I'll hear 90, 80. If it's a referral, well, you've already built the trust part. Now the only thing you have to worry about is the price. So you should be getting 80 or 90%. But your average person that's just calling from an ad or from your website or your Google business profile, they don't know that much about you. Hopefully, we're going to make them, because we're going to have such a great website and Google business profile and social media, that they've already built trust, and that will get higher. But what is your average? So we used one towards the lower 25%. So that means if you want 5 jobs, you need 20 leads. Because if you close 25% of those, you will now have the 5 jobs at $50,000, which is $250,000 a month, which is $3 million for the year. Okay. So get those down in your head. Use the worksheet, get these down, or immediately this evening, this afternoon, write these down. Get this clear in your head, because you're not going to move forward unless you have a goal. Right? So this person walked away and said, I know I need at least 20 leads a month so that I can get 5 jobs. That jobs need to average around 50,000 to meet my goal. It's very clear. And every month, very clear. Did I make it or didn't I make it? Again, you can change it a little bit for seasonality, but the bottom line is at the end of the 12 months, you have to have the 3 million. Now, if you know your average cost per lead, and we are going to talk in this masterclass about how to figure that out. If you don't have it now, you can take an average. Now, this is a very rough average, because I'm talking over clients that are just starting out, and clients that are huge, clients that do small jobs, clients that do big jobs. We took a big average and said, okay, 275 cost per lead. And so if we need 20 of those, that's 5,500. Okay, so that's one way to figure out your budget. Even if you don't figure out your budget this way, you should know how many leads you need. Right? Now, I'm just going to throw this out here quick and come back. This gives you an idea. We spread it out a little bit more. It's still over a large variety of types of clients, but we try to split it out a little bit more of kitchen, bath, and custom home. So you have that in the worksheet. The next thing is the budget allocation. So this is another way to figure out your budget. So again, we're starting with the same thing. This particular person wants to have a goal of making $3 million next year in revenue. Okay, so how much of a percentage of your revenue? So if you go to the Better Business Bureau, Google, use ChatGPT, almost across the board, you're going to be somewhere between 5 and 10% is what people should spend on their marketing budget. This particularly, again, we work with remodelers, so this particularly is focused on remodelers. We've said we find a rule of thumb is about 6% for a typical marketing budget. If you want to grow quick, now if you're telling me I want to double, triple, quadruple my revenue, now you're going to have to be putting more in, maybe 10 to 12%. And if you're just like, I really just want to maintain, I'm kind of happy where I am, but I still need to keep in the same amount of leads, then you're probably talking about 3%. Okay. So for this example, we use the 6%, which is the rule of thumb, which would have meant for the 3 million, you should put 180,000 a year or 15,000 a month into the budget. Okay. Now, one of the things I think everyone thinks, oh, they're into digital marketing, all the money should go into digital marketing. No, it should not. And again, this is going to vary. And this is some of the stuff. If you have a strategy call with me, book a strategy call with me, one of my team members, we would help you through this. This would be a company that's already been around for a little while. Okay, because we're allocating 10% to repeat business. You're a brand new company, just starting. Well, you don't have any repeat business because you're just starting. So you might not put much there. And you may have to put more money into signage, right? This offline marketing, signage, t-shirts, mugs, whatever, things that you, pencils, pens you might give away to clients. That might be something that you put some money into in the beginning, and maybe you don't have any or very little, because eventually you'll have some clients. So maybe towards the end of the year, you put some into that. Okay. And then this would be the amount allocated to online marketing. So again, if you have some questions on what your allocation should be, book a call with us, free 1 hour, and we'll talk to you. Now we're talking about, all right, here it is. So we're going to have 70% into the online, 20% offline, and 10% for the repeat business. Then within the online, we want to say, how should we spend it? So the biggest categories are SEO. And by SEO, we mean your website, your Google business profile, your social media, your reputation management, all of that would be in what we consider SEO. Probably the wrong term to put there, but yeah. Then all of your ad spend. So Google ads, Facebook ads, local service ads, all of your ads, and then display and retargeting ads. So you're retargeting people and spending money on that. Now, most people, when they're just starting out, don't have the money to do for ads. Some people will start with ads because they don't have the money to build a website and they need immediate leads. All different ways to go in. So we have to discuss this with you. But a newer company, I would say most new companies, everybody's different, but most new companies won't be doing too many ads. They may have 100% in their SEO to begin with to get that base started, which I'm going to show you like the pyramid of how we usually start, not always. This company, though, a little more mature. So it works out that they should spend $6,300 a month on their SEO budget, $3,150 in the PPC, and another $1,050 in the display retargeting ads, right? So this gives you an outline. Anything you change, right? If I change this to $1 million, right? Everything's going to change, and I can decide $1 million, and I want put nothing in repeat business right down here, right? And I might say, and I only want, I could even say I don't want anything. I'm just going to work on SEO to begin, right? So they spend, they're looking to get to $1 million next year, spend the rule of thumb amount of 6%, 70% on your online marketing, and all of it in SEO. So therefore you'd be spending about $3,500. So you can play with this a little and then use us. Use that free hour. And we can talk to you about what we think would be the best breakdown of this for you. Okay. All right, so let's go back to here. Review for a minute. Oops, hit the wrong thing. I wanted to go back to the slideshow. Okay, so that's the worksheet. So the things, again, that you needed to put in were the average, what was your goal for this would be last year's, and what would your goal for next year be? Then your average cost per project, the revenue that bring in, my cost, and your average leads that you converge. If you don't know it now, make a guess, then start tracking. And then the number of crews, which is always important too. So for my business, we try to bring on 3 to 4 new clients a month, so about 40 a year, but we always have at least one SEO person for like every 7 clients. Right? So if I'm going to have 40, I might need another six more SEO people. And every client success manager, account manager, client success manager, I wouldn't want with more than 15 clients. So there's another 2.25 client success managers that I need. So all of that has to be included as well. So if you're barely surviving, you're doing 3 jobs and you're completely maxed out, we bring you more leads so that you could do 5 jobs a month. You're probably going to need more crews, and you need to plan for that too. So that's something, again, if you were a client of ours, we'd work through that planning process with you. And then we went through this part of the worksheet, and we went through the allocation for the SEO, PPC, and so forth. And you have that. So one of the things that maybe right now, take 2 seconds and write down, looking, I don't see any questions yet. So what is your annual revenue, your goal for next year? How many crews do you think? We already would have written down from the last page what your average job is and your close rate. And now you know how many leads you need. You could use our average for what the cost, or you could use a percentage for marketing. And one of the other big things, maybe this comes from my teaching background, is why. So when I used to always teach personal finance, and people say, oh, I'm going to put 20% of my income away. I'm like, why? I'm like, well, I don't know, it seems like a good number to change, but why? Because when it comes down to it, and you have to take that money and physically put it into a savings account instead of charging something on your credit card, you have to have a good belief of why. Right? Well, because I'm saving for retirement, I'm saving my kids' education, I'm saving for a down payment on a house, whatever it is. Now you're like, okay, I won't go to that expensive restaurant. We can just eat home tonight, because every time I do that, it's getting me closer to that home I want to buy. Right? It's the same thing with your business, right? Believe me, I know there's days that you're running a small business and everything's going right, you're like, this is the best thing in the world. And there's also days when it seems like you just won't be able to take it if one more thing goes wrong. So you need to know your why. Why do I want to grow my revenue? Why do I need these more crews? Why am I doing this? Right? What's your why? Another key thing about whys is go 3 deep. I want to do this because I want to make a good incomes for my family. Well, why? Well, because I want to have my kids be able to be in maybe some high-end sports programs. I don't want them to go to college. What? But why? Right? Keep asking yourself that. It will really drill down to why. Okay, I'll get off on that, but it's very important. It really is. Because you don't keep goals if you don't know your why. Okay, so make sure you know your goal and you know here, how many leads do I need a month to get there? Right? The person needed 20 leads to get his 5 jobs at an average of 50,000, he'd have $3 million. You should be able to recite that off the top of your head at any point in time. Knowing your numbers is so important. Okay, the marketing strategy. So we have a strategy called the accelerated growth model. We have used this for our company and for all of our clients and had tremendous success. So it really focuses you in. Okay. So first thing you're going to need is you need to have leads. You're not going to get new business. You're not going to be able to survive completely on word of mouth and referrals. We need to drive leads. Then once you get those leads, we need to convert them. So no goods is just leads. We need them to be jobs, projects. Okay? And then we want to make sure we optimize. I want to be like, well, I want to pay the least amount of money for these leads that I convert into jobs, right? I want to optimize this. So we're going to have to talk about the numbers so we can optimize that. So first thing we're trying to talk about is organic SEO. I guess that slide doesn't go back. Yeah. So within here, the first thing to do, drive leads is organic SEO, okay? Which we're going to show you our pyramid, but the organic SEO is getting that website, ranking it, getting your Google business profile, optimizing it and ranking it, and getting engagement on your social media. That's usually what we talk about with organic SEO. Okay. Now, I think I've mentioned this before, but we do all of these masterclasses and webinars. This page alone, which just has a few highlighted, would be about 4 hours of our masterclass. We talk about on-page and content and in our class. We talk about Google Business Profile, local SEO in another one, and signals and converting and another one, and then complete another course on just being found with AI. So there's 4 hours alone. So there are some things, and we do a web conversion class, and towards the end of today's, we talk a little bit about what you should do to have your website convert. Again, a whole hour class that we do on that. Otherwise, if you go to our YouTube channel, just look up Remodelers Marketing Crew on there. All of our past webinars and masterclasses are there, so you can look at them. We do update every year. So when I did this one, we updated. So watch, get on our mailing list for the updated ones, but you don't have to wait until we do it. Things do change every year, but this will give you a good start. And of course, our book will go over all of this in detail. Not sure what went on with that slide. There we go. Okay, so don't know why the slide's doing that. There. Anyway, the biggest thing that we're talking about here is coming up with your cost per lead, and then looking at the percentage that are really coming from organic as well. I think there was, yeah, there we go. Thought there was more to this slide. So this particular client, in total, between the fees they paid us and their advertising spend was about $8,000. From that, they got 53 leads. So if you divide that in, that's 128 per lead. But what really I'm trying to show here is even doing that. So they did everything organic, plus they had ad spend. 77% of their leads came from organic, right? Organic calls, Google Map calls, and web forms. Only 12 of those came from our ad spend. So it's very important. Lots of times we split it up even more. We might have cost per lead for ads, cost per lead for organic. Okay, so you can do that as well. But that is how you will calculate your cost per lead. So you have your fees and your ad spend. It's most, like we would tell you, we can tell you the breakdown of what the fees are for managing your ads versus the organic. So you can break it down that what is the cost per lead for organic, what is the cost per lead for a Google ad, what is the cost per lead for Facebook ad. You can break this all down. But this gives you an idea of how we break it down. There'll be another slide on this as well. And the main point here on this slide is to tell you that a lot of times people are like, organic is old, it's dead, it doesn't matter anymore. It still does. 77% of these leads came from organic. Okay, so here's what we consider our proprietary process of where we bring people in. So this is a pyramid. This is what we usually, this is our base package that we usually try to get people to do to start. And this is what you should do if you're doing it on your own, or what you should discuss with the marketing agency you are working with. Getting a website, ranking it. So having a website is like just wishing they're going to come if it's just sitting there. If it's not on page one, it's not going to be found, and the rest of it doesn't matter. So we need to rank it both for search engine optimization and AI. Rank that website. Then we need to get a Google Business Profile that's optimized. But even if we optimize it to every single bit and you don't have reviews, it's not going to matter. You need reviews too. So we help you with reputation management. Okay. And sometimes this, we have it linked here and it sounds like reputation management is 100% reviews. It is not. Reputation management is also case studies, pictures, videos, which will display both on your website and your social media, and in ads if we went up to ads. Okay, we want to get an active social media that's engaging with people. Once we're getting a lot of leads here, we usually go into ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, advanced social media. Then we start things like email campaigns, automations, building lead magnets like ebooks, price calculators that we mentioned before, and maybe getting into TV and radio. You can, if anybody watches like a football game on a Sunday afternoon, you'll notice there's a big national campaigns for McDonald's and so forth and Wendy's, but then there'll be the local for the small guy, because you can really dial into the zip code of what you want and at their homeowners and so forth on that. So there's another one. Usually, as I said, most people start here. This is the first layer, get more revenue, go here, get more revenue, and so forth. However, nothing's always in stone. We come across somebody that says, hey, my business isn't going to survive if I don't get a leads this month. These are they're going to be your best leads, and they're going to be, in the long run, your least expensive leads, but they don't start right away. You're talking 3 to 6 months after getting these up and running before you're going to get leads. When you're using ads, you generally can get leads in a week or so. Okay. But again, you're not building anything. These are assets that you're building that you own. Here, you're just spending money on ad spend. You're getting jobs, so you grow, but you're not building an asset that you own. So, but sometimes people are like, that's what I have to. I'm going to lose my business if I don't. So we start here, get them back on their feet, and then we usually leap back into here again, and then build this up and go from there. But there are exceptions to every rule. That's why it's important to speak to a specialist on that. Okay, so you want to drive leads. We've talked about organic. We've talked a little bit about paid search, but let's talk a little bit more about paid search. Okay, so sometimes people say, I tried Google Ads, it didn't work. Okay, well, then we look at it and we say, what happened? So generally what happens is that people set up, they're like, we do all sorts of remodeling. And then they send them from the ad to the home page and they don't have any offer. Okay, that's the problem, right? What you need to do is, first of all, choose one. I'm going to do bath remodeling. Okay, and that's what it's going to be. And then we're not going to send them to the homepage where we're going to talk about all of our other services. We're going to create a landing page that talks about bathroom remodeling and converts them into calling us, because it's only talking about bathroom remodeling, which is what they were looking for, and it has a great offer. Right? Those are going to make them more successful campaigns. Okay, so to can't get, again, we do have a whole webinar, masterclass on ads. And we also talk about the difference between Google ads, Facebook ads, the difference between Facebook ad and Facebook boosting, posting, and all of that. So I can't get too much into that unless we're going to be here for the day. But that's a quick idea of Facebook ads. So, I mean, of Google ads in general. So here we're talking about an example. What's your return on investment here? So we have an example, someone spent $3,500 on ads. Okay, and they got 15 leads, so the cost per lead was 233. Yeah, your click-through rate, your click-to-call rate. But the most important is you've got the 15 leads, right? And you have to have your conversion rate. So what do I usually close on Google Ads? So this company said 30%. So that means that they should have booked what they would expect. They're going to get 15 leads. They're going to have $3,500, get 15 leads, that they should book about 4.5 projects. Their average project, in this case, that company is 35,000. So 4.5 projects times the 35,000 gives you 157,500 in revenue for an ad spend of 3,500. That's pretty good, right? But a lot of times people look at that too as what's the revenue? I mean, what is the profit? Well, most clients tell me somewhere between 20 and 30% profit. So let's go with the lower end. So 157.5 times 20%. So that means their profit would be 31,500, right? Off 35. That's almost 10 times your investment. So it's a pretty good investment. Spend 3,500 and get 31,000 in profit. So again, that's how you're going to measure your numbers. Does it make sense to do it? Well, I spent this much money, I got this many leads, I booked this many projects for this much revenue. And I like to look at profit too. Revenue is one thing, but I also look at what is my return on profit. Okay. So what's another way we can drive leads? We've talked about the organic way, about paid search. What about databases? So many times people have email lists. So this is one client, they had over 1,000 people on an email list. Sent out that email list in automations. We followed up with them. We got about 60 replies. It's only about 6%, but right, 11 of those, about a little under 20% of those, actually booked projects for 345,000. Those are jobs that never would have occurred, except that we asked them, do you have a database? Put them in the database. It was about a 6 months project. Followed them up with some automations, with email automations, a few phone calls, a few offers being in those emails, and ended up with 345K. So don't forget about those databases that you have. They're very important. Okay. So at this point, we're going to grade where you are on each of those. So in that worksheet, so if you download the list, go with the sheet here. Let me actually exit here because I already have one opened. So in the worksheet, first, just to kind of show you what's in here, I was already doing that. So here's the playbook. There's the overview we already covered. Here's the information that you should write down about the plan that we just talked about. Here's another click to open once you download that for the worksheet. So you'll always have that. Here's our strategy that we're going over right now. We'll go over this at the end, all the things that we can do to help you. And here's where you want to rate yourself. So we've gone over this so far. So green would be doing a great job at this. I don't need any more work. Yellow is like, well, I got a website, but I haven't updated it in a while, and I don't have my Google business profile has no reviews. I never posted it. You know, I'm going to give myself a yellow there. Or and paid, never done it. I'm going to go with red. Database, I have one, but I really am not consistently wrapping up. So maybe that's yellow. So take a couple minutes because we're going to, at the end, I really think these are most useful when someone says, wow, there's a picture. Here's where I'm really good. Here's what I need to do. Now let's pick my next action step. Okay. So take a second. We're going to stop after each of the 3 areas and have you grade yourself on the 3 parts of it. All right. Let's see where I should have shut a few more things down on my there we go. Of my computer, but I was a little rushed today. Okay. So grade yourself there. All right. So now we're driving leads, we're using everything we can to drive leads, or we're planning to. Once we get those leads, though, we need to convert them. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the website and how we convert those. So again, an hour class. I'm going to spend 2 or 3 minutes on this about conversion, but let's just talk about some of the most important things. So speak to your avatar. What are their fears, frustrations? Why did they choose you? If you're a client with us, you'll know we drive you probably crazy asking about this, and we practice it as a team. We every month will talk about what are the fears and frustrations, the questions, why people are not buying from us, why don't they trust us for us, and then for remodelers in general, which is another reason that we niche down to just work with remodelers. So we don't need to know about all the other types of clients. We need to just focus on remodelers. Really need to understand your target avatar. And then, as I said, every business is different. So some people are aiming at maybe lower end. That's a different avatar than the highest end. Some people are doing quick jobs rather than the jobs that will take a long time. So your avatar is going to be a different avatar than every remodeling client. Images of your team and picture, again, work with us and our client. We're going to drive you crazy. One client this week, I just said, just go take a selfie, do something. We'll get professional pictures later, but right, people are bringing you into their home to work. They want to see a picture of the owner. They want to see a picture of your team working, right? It's not that unusual, and it helps. I can show you websites where we did the same thing. Social media campaigns, Google business profiles did the exact same thing, but one has a bunch of pictures and videos of their team and one doesn't, and the other one does better. We've talked about multimedia. If you go to our website, you'll see right away, there's me on the front, welcome video, right? Videos of your services, right? Depending on what services they are, but process. People are scared. They don't know the process to remodel. A lot of people, they've never done it before. A quick video running through that is so bad. So it helps so much. Explaining why they should reach you rather than the competition. Really clear. Leverage social proof. Well, here's online reviews. We're going to show them. Get your basics. So this is the basics: your phone number, the web form, so forth. Any credentials you have, those are pretty basic. We'll give you a checklist at the end you can have as well, and you can do that. Clear call to actions. I was on a website yesterday looking with a potential client, and literally on the entire website, they didn't even mention the state they work in, no matter the city, not even the state. The phone number was not shown anywhere on the entire website. Now, there was a click to call. So if you were on a mobile, you could click and call. But if you're on your computer, you couldn't call. So if someone's ready, there should be many call to actions for them to be able to move forward. Special offers and coupons, really important. Why are they going to pick you over the other that popped up? Website is mobile optimized. Huge. Over 60% of people now search on their phone. And sometimes your website does not look great on mobile. You need to check that. Think about using live chats or AI chats, but if it's live, make sure someone's there. If it's AI, make sure you train the AI to answer the questions. Otherwise, those can be detrimental if you don't use them correctly. So don't use them unless you actually can have a live chat, someone's available to answer it, or you train your AI really well. Give clients a chance to book online, even if it's a phone call. They feel better. Okay, I know I'm going to talk to somebody at 2:00 this afternoon. Speed. The website has to load quickly. Absolutely has to. And people do really like talking in text. So try using automations. Again, we have an entire masterclass on automations. It helps tremendously. So is your website set up to convert? So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple. We go through this in the conversions a lot. But if you look at this website, right, look at all the places. You can call here and the phone number. It's not just a click to call. I can call from my laptop if I want as well. Email. I can go to Facebook. I can go to my YouTube. I can go to my Google Business Profile. Again, call, email, Facebook, right? They're all here. As you move down this site, these stay with you. So you always know. I can call them energy point. And right below this, there's also a form. And there's a form on every page, right? Another one, similar, right? Same kind of thing. We always say, what's the name of the company? What do they do? Where do they do it? Right up front. Google knows, AI knows, your clients know. They know how to get hold of you, right? Really important. Website performance. So these, okay. These are just some numbers that if you're out people always say, well, what should I be asking? Because I'll say all the time, what is your marketing company doing for you? I'm not really sure. Now, when you work with us, you're going to have a client success manager that meets with you every single month, and they're going to go over numbers like this. And they're going to go over the results. They're going to go over, this is what we did this month. You'll never not know what happened, what we did. And if you're doing it on your own, you need to track it because you want to know, okay, this is where my website was, right? I had 675 keywords, an average position of 40. My organic traffic was here and my impressions was here. I did this, and this month, this, and this month. So I did that for a quarter. Did these go up or did they go down? Right? You have to be looking at what did you do and what is the result? I mean, the biggest result we're looking for obviously is leads, but these are all predecessors to that. Right? We have to get the keywords and the impressions first before we're going to get the calls. So very important. These are some of the most important things to look at. Then that's really on your website, your Google Business profile. If anyone who has a Google Business profile, you can get these numbers and a few others from Google. Number of impressions, clicks, website clicks, call clicks, directions, and so forth. And then we also have tools that will measure at every single spot. This is right outside a company we work with right outside Boston. It's about a 30 by 25 mile radius. And this area is called the South Shore. So we look for the keyword South Shore home remodeling. And we see that, if someone's right there in Randolph, they're getting a 2. If somebody is way down here in Kingston, they're only a 4. So we want to be 1, 2, or 3 because that's the 3 that show up on page 1 on the map path. So except for a couple places, we are doing that. We keep track of this every month. So you should also have someone or yourself, or if you're doing it yourself, to track your performance on your Google Business profile, not just your website. Again, so is it optimized to conversion? Do you have these quote pages? Sometimes people say, I don't really want one of those quote pages. I just want them to call us. Like, well, a lot of times people may be searching on Google at 10 p.m. and you're not working. They get sent in a quote. You can get back to them first thing in the morning. So it is important. Video. I know just as much as I talk about it in here, we talk about it with our clients. And I know it can be hard to get from people, but it makes such a huge difference to show videos and before and after pictures. Really, 100% will make a difference. I can show you it over and over. And, sometimes when I say this to people, I say, instead of take off your business owner hat and put on your consumer hat and think about what you want to look at when you're looking for something. Maybe you're looking for a new car or some kind of appliance that you're buying, right? You like something that walks you through with a video and explains it. You like something that might show you a before and after of something that you might be purchasing, right? It's important. And showcase your social proof, right? So here we have a video on restoration on YouTube that they can go to. Here's before and after pictures, right? And here's testimonials, right? This is all reputation management. It's not just this review, right? It's the reputation management. Look at what we've done, right? And if you can get video testimonials, even better. Get the fundamentals right. You want to show your process. You want to show why to hire. You want to talk about your licensings, insured, right? That's going to set you apart. We need to make that all clear on the website. So this is just an example, right? If you're looking at all the statistics, so I would also probably should have included the number of impressions, the number of keywords and so forth, but we just included one here, the website visits per month. So we were up to 456 websites. They're getting about 30 leads a month from that, doing over 2.5 in revenue in the last 12 months from this. So again, we need to keep track. If you don't keep track of your numbers, don't know if you're doing better or worse. It's just another one. This one was only after 12 months. The other one was probably about a year, 2 years, 2.5 years with us. This was only after 18 months. We really moved quickly with this one. We're getting 103 website visits a month, 12 leads a month. His job, he does very high-end jobs. $75,000 was his average job, so 1.8 million in revenue in that first year. Because the first 18 months, the first 6 months, we're really getting it ranking and moving. And then this was the next 6 months. Okay, so we're going to make sure we have a website that converts. What's also going to help with conversion is reputation. So again, we help with reputation management. or you can use any of these companies or other services that help you with reputation management. But the key things, it's not just reviews. Reviews are important, really important, but you also have to have a variety of types of reviews. So if you can get some video reviews as well as reviews that are just on Google, maybe some on Yelp. AI is searching everywhere. They're not just going, oh, yep, there's a Google business profile and they have 14 reviews. That's great. They're also going to look at Yelp and anywhere else they can find a review on you. So it's important to show all the reviews, and video testimonials are key. And again, something you need help with, or you can find another company to help you. Here's just a few of the examples of some of the reviews and companies that are doing really well. Okay. Here's another example of a breakdown to get your cost per lead, right? So again, we're going, what's the total? Here we did it all in total. We did fees and ad spend. How many? 61 leads resulted from this 3,750, and that's $61 a lead. These were for decks, so it's not, usually the decks are a little bit cheaper than remodeling leads, and they also do repairs as well as new deck installations. And again, the breakdown of the 61 leads. You see, only 9 were from the Google ads and the rest were all from organic. But you need to keep track of these numbers. Okay, automations. That's another way to drive conversion. What do we see? Okay, let's see. I think that it is frozen right now. Okay, that looks like we're back. All right, automations. So here we go. All right, so that's the third way to maximize your conversion. So some people will say, is lead flow really the problem? There's a lot of ways to get leads, right? Your SEO, your website, Google ads, Facebook ads, home advisors, Thumbtack, right? There's lots of ways, local service ads to get leads. But here's the problem. 50 to 60% of inbound leads remain unconverted, and 90% of web forms fail to convert. Why? Because the leads are not followed up. I find this says 15 minutes, and every 50 minutes is pretty good, but I find if you can get back to them within 5 minutes. And myself and my salespeople, when we're open during the day and we get a lead that comes in, there better be a good reason if they're not followed up within 5 minutes. We really are very adamant about that, and we try to push this with our clients as well. But sometimes we're all in meeting, something like that. But if you have an automation that's following up right away, saying, I'm sorry we missed your call. We're in a meeting right now. We should be back in touch with you. And whatever you think is reasonable. If it's during the business day, we should be back in touch with you within an hour. If it's in the evening, we'll get back in touch with you first thing in the morning. But then try, a lot of times we'll try with text if they've given us the phone number. Are you looking for a bathroom or a kitchen remodel? Try to find out some more information, try to engage them, right? But if anything else, they know, oh, I don't really have to call 7 more people because they've already said they're getting back in touch with me, right? And then the average customer must be followed up 5 to 7 times. Basically, I go by a rule of thumb, you need to be told no 7 times before you're going to move on, right? So you need to be in their face. You need to be reaching out again, talking to them. Why? What's going on? What's the thoughts? Where are you? The more you do that, the better. And it doesn't all have to be a phone call. They can be automations as well, which we help with. And a lot of people prefer to talk during text. I know because I do this every day. And I would say most people, I'd say, oh, I should do the statistic, but 70% of emails don't even get open. Okay. Phone call, half the time someone's busy. Text, they might not answer immediately, but I'll start to have an engagement with the text. And then when I start to talk to someone on text, I'll be like, hey, by the way, this is kind of slow. Are you available to talk right now? Happens all the time. I kind of broke it down. You made it sound interesting and you're getting there. So automations are so key. Okay. So leveraging automations, we can, anyone who calls or emails or fills out a form with us, they get attention right away. They're going to get back a phone call, an email, and text message, all soon. If it's in the middle of the night, we're not calling them, but they're going to get the rest of it. And you want to follow up so everybody's touched at least 5+ times with their automations. So I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes with automations. Okay, now we've got these, we want to maximize the results. So again, let's just grade the last part. Where were you on website conversion, reputations, management, and automations? Take a couple seconds to do that. Okay. Now we're going to optimize your results. So the first thing is total spend. We really covered that, right? We had this here. We said, base this off. What is your goal? And then most likely we'd say aim at the 6%, but if you can't, at least start with 3. If you really want to grow, 10 to 12. And then talk about how you're going to allocate it. Again, not all of it should go to online, okay? Then the average cost per lead. So many people have not been measuring that, right? So here's just some, again, this is in your workbook as well, but these are some examples, but very average of what your average cost per lead could be. How would you figure it out, right? Get the total spend, the number of leads, and that will give you the cost per lead. So start tracking it. And as much as you can break it down, the better. If you could break it down by organic, if you're doing ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, separate from Google ads, and you want to know which ones bring you not just the lowest price, because you may find that your Facebook ads give you the lowest price per lead, but you only close 10% of them, right? Because they're not quite as serious. And you might find that your Google ads are much better. So is it worth it? So look not just at the cost per lead, but what is your conversion? How many of those are you closing? And also, I just put a quality rate on them. What's the quality of leads I'm getting from these people? Okay. And then the return on investment. So you're going to have total leads times your percentage of close. You've got so many projects and you've got your average project cost. So you've got your revenue. So you can do this exact or estimated, right? So what did I do? You might look and say, what did I do off the last month? Last month, my revenue from the projects are 650 project book. You might not have completed them all. And what did I spend last month to get those leads for these projects? Try to get them directly related, right? So in this case, it's 95 times, right? Off almost $7,000, I made 6,500. And again, I do like to look at it as profit too. This is often revenue, and that's a really high return. But you could also do the profit. So if you profit 650 times 20%, say 130, right? That's still, and divide that by your 6,787, that's still 19 times your investment, right? So every 6,778, you made 19 times that in profit. That's a really good return. So know how to measure that. I always like this, half my advertising spend is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half, right? So that's why you want to keep track of the numbers. So am I getting much return from my email campaign? Am I getting much return from my mailing campaign? Am I getting much return from my website, from my Google business profile, from my ads? What is the return you're getting? Okay, so again, let's rate these, the last 3. So you should be able to come up with your average spend, even if you just take 5% of what your revenue. So that one you should be able to do pretty easily. If you don't have your cost per lead, make it a red and start analyzing it. And same thing with return on investment. So now look back at how you graded those and say, what's the place that I think that I'm not doing well, I'm a yellow or a red, that I could put the most focus in, and it wouldn't cost me. We say lowest hanging fruit that I can do within my budget. So make that one of your next steps. All right, and we're just finishing up here. So we also have in that worksheet and ideas on how to plan. So this one is in kitchens. We have for baths, we did home remodel, and they're all in that worksheet. And this will tell you like some outlines. Okay, so February, let's talk on the new year, new kitchen. And here's an email, that's for your ads, then your emails, then your social, right? Because we want these all to link together. Other thing to do is put in, use AI. Put in all the information about your company that you could possibly think. And always start with AI saying, is there anything else you need to know before you answer this question? Then maybe put in something like this. This is an example that a marketing person gave me. Can you come up with something similar for this for my company based on what I put it in? And get a plan and then work out that plan. So what would this mean to you, right? If you could do another 2 jobs, if we could get you another 6 leads and you close a third of those, get another 2 jobs at 50,000 a piece, that's another 100,000 of revenue, 20,000 of profit. That's almost $250,000 of profit, right? What would that mean to you? How would that change your life? How could that grow your company? So really think about that. Free online marketing. So call us up and we will send we'll do a whole review for you. Sorry, I got a message that Zoom wasn't on, but it seems to be on. So it looks like it's working fine. I'm not sure why that message popped up. Anyway, call and book with us, schedule it. We usually take about an hour. The more information you give us before we get to the meeting, the more research we do. Sometimes I do 2 or 3 hours of research before a meeting with people to really look into their online marketing. Now, if you don't have much online marketing, then we just look at the competition, but we'll give you a total analysis of where you're being seen online. We'll give you a custom keyword for the keywords that you should be looking at, because we're also going to give you a checklist where you can get keywords, but this will be custom to you. Give you a ranking performance. Where are you ranking? What words are you ranking for? Give you a list of your directories and the consistency, right? Because I saw that person who was not getting his Google business profile just the other day, wasn't getting it verified. I looked at his directory listings, wrong addresses, all different addresses, all different phone numbers. Have to fix that first. Online reviews, reputation, give you an analysis of that, your social presence, and how do we think that your website converts from what we know? This is just a summary. So it's all in one place with a little write-up of each of the areas. Driving your conversions, driving your leads, maximizing your conversions, and optimizing your results. And then these are the things that we specialize in and things that you find most companies can help you with. So first of all, building you a lead converting website. Then we need to rank that website. Should actually say /AI now because it's not just SEO. Then we can also do advertising for you. We absolutely get your Google Maps optimized and help you with reputation management down here, because that helps with the Google Map. And also the other parts of reputation management of trust, case studies, so forth. We'll help you with your social media, be it that it's ads or that you're just doing posting and engagement. Marketing automation, again, so key. Any completed calls, forms, we're automatically going to get back to them. We're going to follow them up with nurturing sequences. So those are really key things to think of, all things that need to be done and where you want to start. So there's also a checklist here. You can kind of see what this is. This is a checklist of what you should have on your website to have it ranking. So click on this and that will give you that checklist. Oh, you can go to our website. There's also a checklist there that you can get. And again, in the chat, there was a link to the all 3 documents that I've mentioned here. So what we covered, hopefully you've got clear targets of where you're heading, how much you should spend on marketing, and where you should spend that marketing, what channels, right? And again, if you want to make it clearer, schedule an appointment. You've also made clear, hopefully, all the important trends that are going on right now to take advantage of those. And now you're set up for success in 2026. Really take advantage of this. Think about it. Where do you need to strategize and focus on most? That's going to make the biggest difference. The worst thing that you can do is do no action. I know I gave you a lot of information, but do something. Pick one thing. Say, I'm going to do that this quarter. Pick the next thing, do it the next quarter. Track your results. It makes such a huge difference. Write those down as your action steps. Again, another link here for you to let me move that up so you got the full code. I'll leave here. I'll stay here a second. The next slide is just going to give you a link to our website, remodelersmarketingcrew.com. I like to stay here for a minute because I know sometimes it takes people a second to get them on the QR codes, and I hate when people switch it away. But you could always, and the next slide is also going to be my email, Shannon at Remodelers Marketing Crew. If you want to schedule an appointment, if you say, hey, I didn't get the link to the download for the worksheet or the marketing plan or the checklist, just send it. We'll get that out to you. So I'll put that here now, right? So our website, my email, our website, our YouTube channel, so you can watch all of the older masterclasses if you'd like, and you can schedule an appointment with me to talk and see where we're moving forward. So I'm going to take a quick check. I know that this went a little bit longer. I don't see any questions in here right now and don't want to go too much longer. So I'm going to end here, but please reach out to us and we will answer all your questions specifically for your company. And I really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. Thank you.